Managing antipsychotics is not just about prescribing medication, it is about rigorous and systematic monitoring. If you are a postgraduate psychiatry resident, knowing the exact timeline for clinical and laboratory parameters is strictly necessary for patient safety and your clinical practice. Let us break down the standard monitoring schedule from baseline to annual follow-ups. At baseline, before initiating treatment, you must comprehensively evaluate the patient. Assess their psychopathology, preferably using standard scales like PANSS, SAPS, SANS, BPRS or CGI. You need to record their weight, body mass index, and waist circumference. For a metabolic baseline, order a fasting blood sugar, HbA1c, and a lipid profile. Check their blood pressure, prolactin levels, liver function tests, and renal function tests. Always get an ECG to monitor the QTc interval. You must also document their smoking and substance use status, note any existing adverse effects using scales like AIMS or gases, and evaluate their baseline psychosocial functioning using tools like SOFAS or WHO-DAS2. 0. If you are starting the patient on clozapine, you must obtain a baseline complete blood count with absolute neutrophil count, as well as a baseline C-reactive protein level. Moving to the 1 to 3 month mark, your monitoring becomes more targeted. You will reassess psychopathology, weight, BMI, waist circumference, and blood pressure. You should also check on their smoking and substance use status and screen for any emerging adverse effects. Notice that you do not routinely repeat the lipid profile, prolactin, liver and renal tests, ECG, or psychosocial functioning during this early phase. However, for clozapine patients, this is the most intensive period. You must monitor their CBC and ANC weekly for the first 18 weeks and monitor their CRP weekly for the first 4 weeks. At the 6-month mark, which acts as a major stability check, you essentially repeat the entire baseline workup. You will evaluate psychopathology, weight parameters, fasting blood sugar, HbA1c, lipid profile, blood pressure, prolactin, liver and renal functions, and get a repeat ECG. You also evaluate smoking status, adverse effects, and psychosocial functioning. For patients on clozapine, the CBC and ANC monitoring now transitions to a monthly schedule for the next 2 years. When you reach the annual maintenance phase, the schedule remains comprehensive. You will continue to monitor psychopathology, weight and BMI, metabolic indices like blood sugar and lipids, blood pressure, liver and renal functions, substance use, adverse effects, and psychosocial functioning. Notably, routine monitoring of prolactin levels and ECG is no longer specified at the annual mark unless clinically indicated. For clozapine, the blood monitoring can be spaced out to an annual frequency thereafter. We must also implement specific Indian adaptations to this schedule based on our clinical realities. In resource-constrained settings where extensive laboratory monitoring is difficult, you must prioritize checking weight, blood pressure, waist circumference, and blood glucose. For patients in rural areas, utilize telepsychiatry-based follow-ups, as this can significantly reduce attrition rates. Furthermore, encourage the use of family-based monitoring diaries so caregivers can track medication adherence and watch for early warning signs. Finally, regarding clozapine, an emerging expert statement suggests that monthly blood monitoring could be less stringent after the first year of therapy because the incidence of clozapine-induced agranulocytosis is very low. However, keep in mind that this is not yet reflected in any official guidelines worldwide due to a lack of robust evidence, so you must adhere to standard protocols for now. If you found this timeline breakdown useful for your residency training, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more high-yield psychiatry guides. Let me know in the comments below how your specific institution handles clozapine monitoring in resource-poor settings.